Hi, everybody, and welcome to In Depth. I'm Bianca Della Garza. This week, a very special edition because I am bringing you the best of our time here at CPAC, the Conservative Political Action Conference. Of course, a gathering of conservative leaders, activists from here in the United States and across the world. Some of the biggest names in politics came here to discuss strategies, policies, and the future. Joining me right now to discuss President Trump's comments recently on Ukraine, the District of Columbia, and many other pressing topics. Probably get into a little bit of the budget, too. Pleased to have Kentucky Congressman and Chairman of the House Oversight Committee, Representative James Comer, right here live with us. Good to see you, Congressman Comer.
Thanks for having me.
Now, you just were on the big stage here at CPAC. We're kicking things off. Tell us a little bit about the energy you're feeling. I feel like it's very hopeful.
Yeah.
And there was a message you were sharing in particular today, sir.
Yeah, it's great. I mean, this is a different CPAC than the last two that I've attended. We won. We fought a battle. We knew we were in a battle for the past 2 years, and we won. Unfortunately, we have many more battles to fight, but I can tell you, Congress is behind the president. We have a few Republican outliers here and there, but they've all heard from their constituents back home. All of his nominees are getting confirmed, and I think the momentum is there, and I think we're going to drain the swamp and make America great again, and the crowd could feel that.
We had a little bit of developments there where Mitch McConnell, Senator, says it's official. He will not be running, longest running, of course, Senate Majority Leader. Your reaction to that, obviously, yeah. Mitch has voted recently against some of Donald Trump's cabinet choices, and that's made headlines here, but obviously a long career, long legacy.
Yeah, well, I can tell you from being in Kentucky all weekend, those weren't real popular votes, but I'm sure the senator had his reasons for doing that. He announced his resignation. From not his resignation, but he wasn't running again.
Yeah.
So I think that was expected. He's been there a long time. He's had a great staff. Our staff's worked with his staff and Kentucky staff, but I don't think it's a surprise to anyone. And we of course wish him the best.
Well, thanks for your reaction on that. And obviously the world is changing. There's a lot happening when it comes to technology. What will the future look like? Last night there was a huge summit in Miami. Donald Trump spoke at it. It was called the Future Investments Initiative Forum. We're going to have our own investment fund if Donald Trump has his way, like they do in Saudi Arabia. And Donald Trump was also talking about what he's been working on as far as diplomatic efforts. You know that the war of words now between Zelensky and Trump have sort of escalated. And we'll play a little bit later, but more of that. But the end to the war seems like under Donald Trump, it could come to pass.
Yeah. And that's what the American people want. We're sick of endless wars. We're sick of spending tax dollars to foreign countries, especially foreign countries that hate us. Trump's restoring common sense. This is the will of the people. There are a lot of old guard senators and representatives that want to keep doing this business model, but they're all announcing they're not running again, and I think it's going to be a new Congress, and hopefully we're going to be where the Republican Party base is, and that's to put America first.
Truly that this sea of change that's happening when we see the cuts to DOJ, we see a different sort of take on the establishment, aka the swamp. Donald Trump is putting out an idea saying that the federal government should reclaim control of the District of Columbia. So tell us, you're all behind this.
You're exactly right. The government is run by the bureaucrats, and Donald Trump's changing that. He's firing people. People are resigning in the deep state bureaucracies, and I think that with what Musk is doing with DOJ and exposing how they've abused their power and misspent taxpayer dollars, I think the end is near, and hopefully people will restore confidence in the government. We need a government. It just needs to be a fraction of the size it is today. And at the end of the day, I think that Donald Trump's the one guy in America that can fix our broken government, and hopefully the Republicans in Congress will have his back.
I watched after the GOP took control of the midterms, and you really took the charge with exposing, some of the things that were going on with the Biden family. And you had a lot of stonewalling, and the Treasury didn't want to give you paperwork. It was really swimming upstream, Congressman Comer, but you've always pressed on, despite what we saw with the pardon of Hunter. You've always been somebody sort of fighting for what is right, what is transparent, and get the truth out there. And next week, we know the oversight. Your committee will hold what's called the Government Accountability Office's 2025 high-risk list. As someone who's really been on the forefront of exposing corruption, Who's high risk? What can you share with us right now? What will you be looking for?
Well, the biggest high risk is the improper payments. And one reason we have such a problem with improper payments, that's improper payments going to people that are billing Medicare, improper loans from Small Business Administration, improper unemployment insurance benefits from people that aren't even real American citizens that are drawing unemployment benefits. The reason that's happening is we have obsolete software in the federal government, and it's ripe for abuse. We have cyber attacks on a daily basis there. That's what Musk knows a little bit about. And one thing that Musk has done is he's created these algorithms to work with artificial intelligence to go in and detect these anomalies.
Yeah.
And what we're finding is these are the improper payments. So it's costing American taxpayers hundreds of billions of dollars a year in waste. And this is what where we want to start on the Oversight Committee. And ironically, this is where the Democrats are fighting us tooth and toenail. They want to protect the bureaucracy. They don't care about tax dollars being wasted. They just want to keep the federal fat cat bureaucrats fat and happy. And at the end of the day, we're going to put America first, and we're going to drain the swamp. And that's what hopefully our committee will lead the way in.
You're also going to touch on some subjects that have been controversial in the past. I know that you have a task force you've set up about declassifying federal secrets. Jeffrey Epstein, UFOs. I mean, these are things that have been shrouded, in secrecy. How soon could we see some of the Epstein list?
Well, this started because Trump said he wanted to declassify a lot of our federal secrets. So we have great members on the Oversight Committee. I picked Anna Paulina Luna to lead a task force, and we've got some of the Newsmax's top guests that'll be on that task force. We're going to work with the administration to let the American people know the truth. We have questions about UFOs. We have questions about who's on the Epstein list. We deserve answers, and President Trump has pledged to do that, but we're already detecting obstruction from some of these government agencies. They're like, no, we don't need to release that to the American people. No, the American people deserve the truth. That task force on declassifying our federal secrets, we're going to be persistent in trying to work with Trump to fight the bureaucrats to make this information public.
Well, I can't wait to see it all come out. It's about time. And you are one of our favorite guests as well here at Newsline. Thank you, Congressman Comer. Appreciate your time today. Enjoy CPAC. I know it's going to be quite an exhilarating few days. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
All right, folks, stay tuned. We'll be back with more from CPAC right here next on In Depth. Welcome back to In Depth. We are here at CPAC this week.
They're curbing inflation and saving taxpayers billions and billions of dollars every single day. And there's even under consideration a new concept where we give 20% of the DOGE savings to American citizens and 20% goes to paying down debt, because the numbers are incredible, Elon. So many billions of dollars, billions, hundreds of billions. And we're thinking about giving 20% back to the American citizens and 20% down to pay back debt and pay down debt.
Doesn't that sound good? President Trump is thinking about giving back 20%, you just heard him, of DOGE savings to you, the American taxpayer. There's a lot going on when it comes to the DOGE windfall, and also some money that might be back in the pockets of New Yorkers. To bring in our panel now to discuss all of this, pleased to have former Vice Chair of the New Jersey Federation of Republican Women, the host Melanie Collette, host of Money Talk with Melanie. That can be heard Wednesdays, 7 o'clock, 9 p.m. On the coast. And also next to Melanie, we are pleased to have in the CEO of Mason Borough Strategies, Republican strategist Luke Ball, and the host of Better Call Ball on WDRU 105.7. Did I get that right?
Yeah, that's it.
All right,
exactly.
Fantastic. All right, let's talk about this. It's all about the money from DOGE coming back to American taxpayers. I'll let you start with this, Melanie. It's a great idea. Will it happen?
It's a great idea. I hope it happens, even if they do a little bit of this. And one of the things that American people need to remember is they're returning your money. It's not the government giving you a bonus. It's money that they forced out of your paycheck to begin with. So don't be too, I want to be grateful for the money coming in, but remember, it's your money.
It is our money. And also some are saying it's more than we were given during COVID relief package. So, Luke, this is all a boon for Americans. I don't think the Democrats are going to see it that way still.
Yeah, well, we went through the roof before the American Revolution over a 3 pence per pound tax on tea.
Ooh,
and now this is our Boston Harbor. They threw tea into the Boston Harbor. We're throwing pork into the Potomac. And you were exactly right. It is our money. It is our money that they took through taxes, that they stole from the American people, that they have misused for decades and decades. And now it seems like we're getting some sort of vindication for all of the money that's been taken from us.
And I love that analogy because I was a little girl growing up in Boston, so maybe there could be some type of, memorial here, monument, because it brings in a lot of tourism too when you talk about that. All right, Kevin O'Leary, Shark Tank, all right, he's out talking to legacy media. He said Doge needs to do even more. Let's play this because the reaction was quite entertaining.
I think the issue is they're not whacking enough. There's this concept in private equity when you get a bankrupt company and you go in there, you cut 20% more than your initial read. Always cut deeper, harder when there's fat and waste. All of these agencies are like big fat chickens dripping over barbecues of fat. This is the best barbecue I've ever seen, but I don't think it's happening fast enough. They're not cutting enough. Keep slashing, keep hacking, cut, more cutting. Believe me, it's going to work out just great.
I mean, the faces are priceless. I think they lost their appetite the more he was saying cut, Melanie.
These people have no concept of cutting or conserving because it's not their money. When you can literally force money out of somebody's paycheck to feed whatever pet project you want to feed, of course you think cutting is a terrible idea. But no, it's a fantastic idea.
I think those liberal pundits, though, they didn't know what to do with it. They thought maybe they could, get him to speak against Elon and Doge, and it was, let's grab my water, let's kind of distract, stunned silence, and that's a pretty good accomplishment.
Well, they were flipping out because we had to lay off and then rehire some people. They're like, we laid off crucial people who were central to the functions of the federal government, and yet the earth didn't melt down. Our country still functioned. We were still moving forward. Just because Scooter from HR gets laid off for 48 hours doesn't mean that the country's going to pot. It means when you scale down, sometimes you realize we need this person. Let's have them back on. Let's rehire them and bring back these individuals to the federal government. But you know what? We do have to cut quicker because we are essentially a sinking ship right now. We have to do something about the way we're spending trillions and trillions into debt.
It was shocking, too, to hear, NPR covering some of the federal employees complaining about things like traffic and finding childcare, things millions of Americans actually deal with. And they were barely going to the office 2 days a week and saying they were just exhausted.
Yes, I know.
I do want to get to congestion pricing because it seems like it is going away. Kathy Hochul, we all know they pushed it in after the election, too, because they knew it wasn't popular. We have a little clip here. And now she says she's going to fight back against Donald Trump's letter from Sean Duffy. Let's play this, Melanie.
The streets of this city where battles were fought, we stood up to a king, and we won then. And we will. In case you don't know, New Yorkers, we're in a fight. We do not back down. Not now, not ever.
She's already going to try to remove potentially Eric Adams. I mean, she's doing some really crazy stuff up there in New York.
She knows this is terrible policy. If you recall, right before the election, she put a moratorium on that, right? And then right after the election, she reinserts that congestion pricing. And then she says, oh my gosh, Trump can't do that. Trump can't save the American people money. Trump can't make sure that small businesses are able to survive. It is incredible to me that she is actually saying we're going to fight against saving her constituents' money.
After all the taxes you pay in New York. Real quick.
Exactly.
Another topic I want to get your reaction on, Luke. The Doge is finding Stacey Abrams had a green energy nonprofit group, and $2 billion in taxpayer funds went to it. Aha.
The reason you see so much coming out right now is because they've covered it up for so long. It's how this town operates. Anything that happens in the halls of Congress or in Washington, if it happened in in corporate America, it might be considered white collar crime. But we're doing things like ridiculous amounts of spending, $12 million to build a pickleball court in Las Vegas, $1 million to study Mexican ducks in their wetland facilities. It's just comical how Trump can stand up there for 4 straight minutes and rattle off all of the waste, fraud, and abuse.
And Lee Zeldin over at the EPA finding some real crazy stuff with Biden's greenhouse gas reduction fund program, $20 billion. So we have a lot more to get to. We're just getting started. Great to see you both. Melanie, Lou, come back and visit us soon. And enjoy CPAC.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Stay with us, more from CPAC right here when In Depth continues. All right, welcome back to In Depth, everybody. I'm Bianca Della Garza coming to you from CPAC right here at the Gaylord Resort. Leaders, players in the game, and also administration officials. We're so pleased right now on set. I'm being joined by Sebastian Gorka. He currently serves as the Senior Director of Counterterrorism under President Donald Trump, of course. Once a member of the Newsmax team, the Gorka Reality Check. Sebastian, so good to see you here at CPAC.
Great to see you, Bianca. Thanks for having me.
Huge dose of reality with the people who want to kill Americans. Tell us about some of the momentum and what's being done, especially in regards to ISIS, Sebastian. You are at the forefront of some really big things.
Well, I shared the story because everybody wants to know what President Trump's really like and what it's like working for him. And I told the story from the stage today that second week of the administration, we'd only been in office for 8 days. And the National Security Advisor, former Green Beret Mike Waltz, myself and one of my members from of my team at the NSC walked into the Oval with a classified target packet, and we showed the president, sir, there is an ISIS enclave, a cave complex in northern Somalia that the government has been surveilling for almost 2 years that's full of ISIS leadership. And the president looked up from the Resolute desk and said, well, what do you mean we've been surveilling them for 2 years? He looked at Mike and he said, kill them. He got out his iconic big Sharpie, ticked the go box on the operational orders, and less than 30 hours later, we're in the Situation Room watching this cave complex be blown into smithereens.
And we got reports of it, but that's my same reaction. Why? Why the hesitancy in the last administration to do that move?
Well, as I said many times on my Newsmax show, when Biden and Harris were in command, which they weren't doing, they treated our friends like enemies, including Israel, and they placated our real enemies. What kind of regime gives billions of dollars to Iran? What kind of president literally opens the borders to any malefactor who wants to come in? That changed at 12:01 on January the 20th, and the last 31 days have been magnificent because I can't keep up with the pace of what our war fighters are doing because President Trump has said, okay, you want to, in that viral tweet, you want to hurt Americans? We will find you, we will kill you.
We know the difference. We feel it as someone who's covering the administration day in and day out. And covering it from the perspective of an America First, looking at the chessboard, how it is being sort of pieces moved around in a way that will protect Americans. You are there, counterterrorism. Should Americans feel safer today? We know the border crossings have gone down tremendously, but the big concern, and we've talked about it for years, that these people are able to hide and they're able to have cells here. And they let in so many people that the problem wasn't going to go away overnight in the first 3 weeks.
Let me answer the question thusly. I don't have to give you classified information. I only have to say a few words. Tom Homan, Kash Patel, Governor Noem, John Radcliffe, those names alone, Mike Waltz, should make you feel warm inside. I've received 2 kinds of text messages in the last month. They either say, congratulations, Seb, or I feel so much safer. That's because of the team President Trump has around him. I mean, these are people who are patriots and want to do one thing, secure America.
It's astonishing that, you know, it really took this historic election for this to actually change. Kash Patel being sworn in today at 4 p.m. He literally can get to work immediately. There's been talk of what may be his first move. We know his boss, Pam Bondi, wasted no time. In about an hour or two, there were things that were trickling out. What can you tell us? What's Kash going to be up to in the first, say, 8 hours, 24 hours? I'll give him 24.
I'll be there. I'll be there at his swearing in the Indian Treaty Room in the White House. I am so happy for not only him and his parents, I'm happy for America. Because 2 things. He'll make us safe. He'll work with Mike Waltz's team, with my counterterrorism team, to make sure that the threat domestically is dealt with. And on top of that, for me, it's all the abuses of power from the FBI, the DOJ, under the last 4 years. 72-year-old grandmothers being put in prison because they prayed in Congress on January the 6th. Beautiful pro-life people outside.
Latin mass?
We're not going to have Catholics targeted by the FBI before that because they go to Latin mass. So Kash Patel is going to bring the Bureau back to where it should be.
Are Democrats scared? And should they be?
If you committed a crime, you should be scared.
All right, in our final moments here, you have been at CPAC. This is actually become such a global phenomenon.
Yeah.
I know you are Hungarian American, but there's people here from Romania. There's everywhere. And it does seem like with this administration, people know that America, we say we're back, but it's even deeper than that. They want our respect, they want to know our ideas, and some of them even want to implement them.
Yeah. Hat tip to Matt Schlapp, to Mercedes Schlapp. What they've created here is the global biggest conservative patriotic convocation of its type. That's why everyone is copying it from Australia to Hungary. Why? Because this is the age, not just a golden dawn for America. This is the age of the rebirth of representative government, nations led by people who love their countries, not people who hate them, people who love their countries. And we need to celebrate that, and we need to build that global team.
Well, and also it's a moral compass, and we didn't have that with a lot of the corrupt people that were running Washington. It is about truth and transparency, especially with the media, and we're here to provide that. Keep up the great work, and give Kash our best.
God bless.
All right, thanks, Sebastian Gorka. All right, that does it for this special edition of Newsmax In Depth from CPAC. Taking a look at the coming week ahead, the Supreme Court scheduled to issue orders for pending appeals starting on Monday. And the White House, of course, will be very busy as the President of France, Emmanuel Macron, and UK Prime Minister Keir Starmer are set to visit with President Donald Trump. From all of us here at Newsmax and CPAC, we wish you a wonderful weekend. And join me every weekday, of course, noon Eastern, for Newsline.